a really big deal. Thank you.
Apologies. I just realized we weren't recording.
Itchy
I,
trigger finger. That's okay. So it's really important because if I see Sri or Priya or Jacob walking in as an area director saying, I've got your back. Well, what do you really like about your club? If they're negative Nancy's about it, you can say, you know what? This can be a vent session. Knock yourself out. It's not going to go anywhere. Like, I've been where you've been. Let's have a chat. And then let them have the conversation. You're dealing with humans. You're not dealing with numbers. Okay. So it's really important to be that person that can hold that space. Okay. Having said that, when you do area director visit reports, they are gold. Your perspective is what the district leaders want. They want to hear from you as a member of the deck, as an area director. What is your perspective with respect to this club? Okay. Now, please do not walk in saying, well, at my club, dot, dot, dot. That's a great way to be shown the door. Okay. It's really important that you take some situational analysis into account and say, what's the lay of the land? Why don't they do a pledge? Oh, well, most of the people here are from several other countries and they wouldn't know our pledge. That makes sense. Okay. If it's called, Cultures of the World Toastmasters, I'm betting there isn't a US pledge involved, right? If it's Catholic Communicators, I'm going to expect an invocation. Doesn't have to be one, but I'm not going to act shocked if there's an invocation on that agenda, right? So consider that there's more than one right way to Toastmaster as a verb. Okay, you have 4 to 6 clubs. You might see 4 to 6 ways of things going right. And you want to be able to look for both the authentically good stuff and the places that could definitely be points of improvement. If you whitewash or just say everything is awesome, right? They're not going to have a high level of trust or credibility in you. Because when a club struggles and there is a president, a vice president, and a VPPR that have been doing 3 hats every single meeting ad nauseum for the last year, I guarantee you telling them, oh, you guys are a small but mighty club. This is great. 7 deep is fine. They are going to look at you and know that you are whitewashing them because they've lived this. Okay. When you have new members coming in the door, they did not take their time and energy, especially their time, something they can't make more of, to get to Toastmasters, whether it's on site, online, or hybrid, to develop speeches and to learn leadership in front of 3 other people. Okay. One of the things that we keep going back to in leadership, regardless of the letter, regardless of the day, the time, the level, is the Toastmasters promise. Read that Toastmasters promise if you haven't in the last 30 days. Revisit that because that Toastmasters promise, if you look at it chapter and verse, you will see what our bond is, what our commitment is. This is a nonprofit, but we still honor our word and our commitment because if we take those transferable learnings outside of Toastmasters into wherever we want to go in the world, where we want to put our passion, we're unstoppable. So area director visit reports, be authentic, be yourself, be an active listener, don't whitewash. And ideally, you want to put them in 2 to 3 days after you've visited. Because as you wait, the information grows colder, especially for clubs that are struggling. So make sure that you get that knocked out sooner than later. It's really important. And if you're struggling with that as an area director, reach out to your division director, reach out to a mentor if you've got a mentor. It's really important to submit a report in a timely fashion. I can't stress that enough. It should not be on the last day it's due because the rest of the world and the procrastinators and Toastmasters that haven't yet learned that lesson will be submitting and it will slow or maybe even stop on that day. And I don't want to see you pull your hair out or other people's hair out over something that's not being submitted. So this dashboard will really give you some research ahead of time to give you the credibility that you need in order to be successful in your role. Greg? You're on mute, Greg.
Thank you, Karen.
Oh, you're welcome.
She mentioned the Toastmasters Promise. The easiest way to find that is on the new membership, or the membership application for new members. But one of the things, and it's there for a reason, as we are working to sign up a new member, if we share those promises with them and we send them a copy of their application after it's been completed, they already not only have something to start their file of Toastmasters on, but you pointed it out and gone over that with them so they have a better idea. So knowing where to find the Toastmasters Promise, the district leadership handbook, the club leadership handbook, the area club visitation report, all these things you can just put in the search bar of toastmasters.org and go to it. If you're going to go to the membership application to open it up, you're going to find when it appears, excuse me, I think you have to go all the way to the third page. Excuse me, the third page to find it in English. So we are not just an English speaking organization where that's just handy for you right there. You might have to search around for the language with that. But the dashboard, like Karen says, is a tool that I still use. I think I've been an area director 5 times and a division director 4 times. And why would I do that over and over? Well, it pains me to say, I could share with you, I'm still learning. I need to do it again. I've been President's Distinguished Division Director twice out of 4 times, and President's Distinguished Area Director 3 out of 5 times. Now, I'm still learning, but more importantly, the reason I'm doing it, because nobody's stepping up to take that position. And when I fill that position, I feel like I'm stealing an opportunity from another member to continue their leadership journey. And so my heart hurts for the district because we want to support them and getting the goals because we have a strong leadership team trying to make things happen. So to break it down, but I'd rather be a mentor to an area director and helping them achieve than doing the position for another time. That's more important to me. I believe that as leaders, we don't want followings of people. We want to develop future leaders. That's how we keep our districts going. That's how we keep our districts strong. That's how we keep our clubs strong, our areas strong, by developing future leaders. And that's, again, who relies on you. Those future leaders are relying on you to do that. Okay, any questions for Karen on the dashboard, or thoughts, or anything unique that you know about the dashboard that might be something you want to share? Go ahead and raise your hand and Karen will address it. Anybody? Jeffrey.
Just asking the question, ask the question. Now, I know it's early in the year, but do we want to shrink that tone as we visit clubs to say, hey, you don't have any district club points in yet? Off the top with a bat, or just ask the question. And this is sort of feeding the answer from my own experience is I know some clubs aren't really interested in DCP points as much.
Mhm.
So I feel like going in with the question of how are you coming with your pathways speeches is better at question than why aren't you getting your DCP points in yet?
Yeah, you don't want to talk about the points. It's like it would be like me talking to a patient, to go back to the analogy, saying, hey, you're 180 over 110. What's going on with that? You know, like they're not, that will not garner a good response ever. But if you say, if you connect with them, because you have to be sort of a translator as a leader in Toastmasters, you have to be able to look at the dashboard and understand what the numbers are saying to you and get a sense of what's going on. But when you talk to members, especially members that don't spend as much time Toastmastering as you do, You want to connect, discover, and respond where they're at in their language. So if I'm thinking, hey, they have 0 of 6 DCP points, DCP point 1 through 6, I can go full nerd engineer because I'm ex-Caltech. If I do that to the member, I'm going to lose them, right? But to your credit, Jeffrey, if you say, hey, I noticed that there aren't any, pathways levels that are discoverable, and I want to make sure everybody's getting submitted on time. We don't want to postpone joy, and it's already 3 months in. So I'm just out of curiosity, like, how are those going? Do you guys need any help with anything? Because sometimes you have a new VPE that's just afraid to ask for help. They don't know it's a sign of strength and not weakness, right? So by pulling that thread and asking the human questions and not making it about DCP points, you get the answer about why the DCP points may not be there, but you're not making the members feel like a number or feel like you're not looking at them as people, because ultimately you need to make that human connection and you have to be able to speak that language.
Yeah, and to add to that, what I used to do was, if they show 0 now, go back to last year and see what they did last year too, because it may be that they burned all their points to get to the end, and they don't have any points to declare yet. Yeah,
there's no more giddy up in their steps, so to speak. And that's something Sally's not on, so she's not going to appreciate that. But the idea of being able to not put everything on the field June 30th and then come up for air on July 1 and say, okay, I don't want to do another speech for another 4 months, right? Like that burns people out, right? So you want them to feel like they can be Toastmasters and be good year round without sort of trying to push 80% of their effort in the entire month of June and then just be spent after that, right? That's no fun. So if you coach them now and say, hey, this is a great time, to get this done, it's a gift to yourself early for the new year, right? You saw something in Toastmasters that was going to make you a little bit more better tomorrow than you are today. How can we make sure that you're getting that from the program? Because that's a big deal. That's why we're here for you. And at the end of the day, we talked member retention a little bit, but if you do not have members that feel like you care about them, and that means like all the time, not just when dues are due and you've got your hand out, or you need educational awards at the 11th hour in June, then they're gonna feel that when they're thinking about renewing. Okay, it's about building relationships through trust and genuinely caring about, are they getting value out of Toastmasters? Because we're in the people business. Priya?
Yeah, I had a question about how to convince members to give speeches regularly, because I know that the clubs, they attain they can do 2 DCP goals easily just by doing the club officer training and maintaining their membership.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem starts when they have to start giving speeches and getting the level 1, level 2 awards. So how do you convince the members to give speeches? Like, tell them that talk about anything. I've been telling members that don't worry about the topic, or don't worry about is it applicable. Just talk about something that happened in your life. It can be any everyday incident, like filling gas at a gas station, or buying something at a grocery store. It can be as simple as that. But still, people don't, they hesitate to talk because they feel that they're being judged.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we convince them? Maybe there's something that Toastmasters can do to encourage people to talk. Maybe they give them be a secret Santa and give them a gift if they achieve level 1 or level 2. Because the VPE and the president, I've been in the same club for about 4 years, and I've seen this happening consistently. And so now I'm thinking that maybe there should be somebody who's secretly rewarding them, and then they'll feel happy, rather than having that one-on-one face-to-face time.
Greg's definitely got an idea for this one.
So you've heard me mention about resources, and one of those resources is the club success plan. Mm-hmm. There's also an area success plan. You as area directors there's a plan there that you can fill out that helps you prepare a plan for the year to go through and to put together on where you're going. Well, the same thing for the club. And part of that success plan addresses the different 10 goals. And so what you're looking at is goal number 1, 4 level 1s.
Mhm.
That's where you put the names in there. But when you put the names in, before you put the names in there, is there a communication with that member and the vice president of education of a commitment by June 30th or by December or February 29th or whatever comes up, that you're going to have a level 1 done or a level 2. Now, there's also room there to add during the year new members that come aboard, and you make them part of the club by sharing, hey, you're part of the club success plan and your name's included there. And so your icebreaker and your first 3 speeches might be done by this date. So if you can get club officers, I haven't done it here in 8731 because we pretty well have a plan laid out prior, but the Riverside Breakfast Club, I just went through with all 7 officers here 2 months ago. We selected the members. We talked to the members about fulfilling a commitment, and then we put plans down for membership growth and a number of other issues. And so we all signed off on that plan. And that not only did we did a short presentation on the plan, success plan, we sent every member a copy of that plan so they have it. So now, what have you done here? Not only did you showed them on a success plan, they have a piece of the rock and a commitment. We're also educating them. Look at all the things that your club officers are doing to serve you, and all the work they're doing. It's not just work to be done, but it's a plan. A plan. If we don't have a plan where we're going, how do we give that goal to the members how to follow it?
Greg,
So
just as a heads up, I dropped the club and area success plans with the hyperlinks in there just for good luck. And Priya, one of the things that I've found with new members is that the best thing to do is to in our club officer training, especially for VPEs, is to say, hey, that first 30 days, get the new member in a position where they put the fun and functionary as an awe counter, because then they're not a tourist watching something like a Netflix style thing like that's happening for them. They're actually part of the group. And the second part of that is early on say, hey, the first speech is an icebreaker. It's 4 to 6 minutes. You're the subject matter expert. Anything you want to share, knock yourself out. But just to show you, like, let's say, maybe they're not new, or maybe it's a member that hasn't been by in a while. Let's see. Sarani, are you on?
Sorry, I didn't get it. Karen?
Okay, cool. So are you able to come on screen, or are you in a distracting area? Excellent. It's so much easier to read your lips. Thank you for that. Okay. Because I'll tell you, I have closed captioning, but I don't think you said anything about tacos, so I don't trust it very well. So Sarani, how was your week this week?
Good, okay.
Did you do anything fun?
Yet to get a fun.
What do you
on
hope to do?
Friday. I'm going to go out with one of my friends.
Okay, cool. What's your favorite sport? What do you like to do in terms of a sport?
I'm not a sporty person, but I like to watch cricket. Cricket.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So cricket is something that my kids are trying to understand now. And it's a little bit different than baseball, but I think they're almost making a go of it, which is really cool. Just out of curiosity, do you play any kind of I don't know, musical instruments or anything like that?
Violin.
Violin. Oh
Yeah.
man, most people play the radio. Violin is difficult. When did you learn that?
What did I learn? So
How old were you when you learned it?
I just play it for fun.
Okay, that is really cool. So Sarani and I have not talked ahead of time. Okay. We don't know each other. We don't have coffee with each other or tea or anything. Okay. I just found out she likes to do something fun this upcoming weekend. Don't know what it is. I'm kind of on the edge of my seat. I also found out, like, you know, she knows all about cricket, or she can know a lot more than me about cricket, and she plays the violin for fun. Okay. If she's a member that I haven't heard a speech from in a while, I'd say, you know, I know this sounds like a crazy idea, but I'd love to learn more about cricket. And I'm just wondering, like, is that something that you'd be able to like talk
Mhm.
about the next month? Because I would love to know. And it's just pops and whistles to me when my husband tries to explain it to me. You know, he gets all in the details or whatever. That's connecting with, like, I actually want to know more about Sarani and what she's going to get to do this weekend, right? Like, that is
Yeah, so doing some connecting to the member at a different level, and then ask them to talk about that new subject that they know about but others don't know about, like
Yeah.
gardening or some hobbies or something, or a skill that they learned.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Okay.
And Sarani, I props to you. Thank you for like having the conversation with me. If she was like, I don't know you, pound sand, I'd be like, okay, no worries. Like, that's your right. It's a free country. But I know that if she did do that to me as a leader, she brought that maybe to the conversation. She might be having a bad day, and I'll give her space and grace, but I'm willing to risk my own weirdness and awkwardness to get to connect with Sarani. I'm an introvert, okay? Like, I am absolutely an introvert. It's really easy to confuse what people are saying with me not being able to hear well. But the greater loss would be not getting to know more about Sarani.
Mhm.
So you got to make those difficult decisions in the moment.
Okay.
As a club officer, as an area director, as a division director,
Okay.
it will pay off.
And Karen, I appreciate you putting the club success plan, area success plan up. I hope that you take advantage of it. It's the top of the hour, so we need to move on to session 3 that we have planned up there, which is now moving into preparing for a club visitation from the area. This is some tips I want to give you, and Karen can chime. How many have done? Has anybody here done completed a club area visitation yet? I can't. I can only see the top here. So, okay. So there's lots of things said about preparing. When you're a new area director, some people say, well, go before the meeting and then go back afterwards and do your visitation. And okay, touchy-feely, that's fine. To me, I personally disagree with it. I start now. The first impression is what hits me in the face about doing a visitation. When I go to that, I give the heads up to the club officers that I'm coming to do this, so they understand. Provide me a little time to speak about things they need to know upcoming and so forth. But I want to see them not coming in just get the feeling, but I want to see what's going on and go through the evaluation. So if you need to feel to go back and make a better relationship with them, schedule a second time. But you need to do at least 2 a year, and this is important feedback, because it's going to be given to the club, it's going to be given to the division director, it's going to be given to the trio, and it's going to be on file at Toastmasters International World Headquarters. So in order to feel that, I would say that plan ahead and look at the options of the meeting time, place, location, name of officers, meeting ID, passcode, physical location, depending how you're going to do that. And mark out tentatively on your calendar when you're going to make these visitations. Not just the first round, but plan into next year for the second round. Give yourself some calendar space so you have it there that's going to come up there. Now, these planned visitations may change because the club may, we're not meeting today, or they only meet twice a month, or they're an advanced club and they meet once a month, or whatever the thing is. You're going to have to be somewhat adaptable, but you do want to be tenacious in the sense in getting those done and done on time. One thing is, if you're striving to achieve distinguished area or greater, you need to have so many of these club visitations completed and in on a time period. And we all want to be in our mind, our work excellent. Part of excellence is doing and following the leadership training goals that they give you. Part of that is completing your area club visitations on time, twice a year. Before you go, and Sharon and Karen just showed you on the dashboard, review the DCP, the Club Distinguished Club Program, and the dashboard. The vital signs are there for you to pick up. And so when you go, you're going to have, it may lead you some questions. It may provide you some recognition. And I have an old saying that recognition equals motivation.
Mhm.
And when you recognize that club of the Ukiah Toastmaster Club for having X amount of goals done and membership and stuff, recognize them, make them feel good. I mean, this is spurring them forward. In the same thing, if they're failing in there, I don't think I want to discuss it in the whole club, but you might say, hey, Mr. President or Madam President, and whoever, can we meet a little bit after the meeting to discuss a few things that I wanted to share with you? That way we praise in public and we give corrective or positive reinforcement about things that need to be changed, maybe in private. This will also make you a better leader and mentor. Again, before you go, I would advise you to go to the Toastmasters.org and go to the club area visitation report and make a paper copy. Now you're sitting there on Zoom or at the meeting, but you have that copy in front of you and you can be writing notes all over it. Just like in Pathways, you get an evaluator's guideline for the evaluator. I always make a copy and I write notes on it. And then the final one, I organize it, make it a nice printed copy and forward it to it. But it gives me that note-taking power that allows me to make notes, to make changes, to make updates, to make it correct. Well, the same thing for the visitation form. Also, it will give you, if you put it in file somewhere, when you go for your second visitation, it's going to give you where you left off and what you might be looking for, and look for the changes or improvements or continued recommendations that may support that club. I had an old saying I shared with Founders District twice now as a keynote speaker. Every club, a distinguished club. Is it possible? Is it doable? It's up to the members. Every club is now, if you get every club distinguished, which has never been done in the history of Toastmasters in a district, you may not make Smedley distinguished or whatever, because it takes new clubs to do that. But you're certainly going to grow and becoming distinguished by not losing clubs, having membership growth, having your pathways and your clubs be distinguished. So if you can make people think as an area, why not every club in the area be distinguished? How can the clubs work together to work that? How can we do the same? Again, I would have a prepared list of updated things that clubs need to be looking at. Speech contests are going to be coming up in, I believe, March, or no, February for the clubs. March is area, April division, yeah. And when are dues due the next time? When are you going to get your club officers list in before the June 30th? But some clubs, if they meet 4 times a year, 4 times a month, they're allowed, because of the amount of times they leave, to elect new officers every 6 months. Well, if they're going to do that, then before a club that has 6-month officer terms that meets 4 times a month, they need to have their new club elected officers into world headquarters, Toastmasters.org, before December 31st. The Riverside Breakfast Club I belong to, we go, I'm the president currently from July 1st to December 31st, 2024. Van, who's president, who's our club treasurer, but learning today, she'll become our next president, and she'll carry on from the January 1st to June 30th. The club plan calls for the club to be distinguished by December 31st. So now when she takes office, she'll have a distinguished club, and now she can move forward and getting that club the President's Distinguished and continue. But that's our plan that's been working. So there's all sorts of things you can do, but how about the clubs that you're visiting? What are the philosophies and things that you can show them that works towards that? The upcoming dates, dues, turning in officers list, speech crafts, all this other stuff. Basically, if you go from the club through the district level journey of leadership, normally about every month, you'll find that there's something to work on, something to achieve, something that keeps you going. That's part of the Toastmasters where leaders are made. That's part of the leadership training that you're getting, is on the job training as your current position, following and understanding and completing these goals as you go along. And of course, the main thing is once you've completed those, submit them. They have to be submitted. That's the final product that has to be submitted on time. All this can be with due dates, again, as district officers, which area, division, and the trio. It's all in the leadership, the district leadership handbook, time dates, schedules, what's due, how to do it. All that's in there. Again, I can't overemphasize that. I used to have the paper copy, but in today's world, it's on, that I had it labeled in there everywhere I went in my briefcase. I could pull it out, thumb right to it, and I had an answer. Now, somebody just real quickly said, well, how do I encourage people to give speeches on the pathways and do that? Eons ago, before we had computers and Toastmasters, we did paperwork on every meeting, about 12 pages, recording different things that occurred. Lots of paperwork. By the end of the year, can you imagine how thick that got that you mailed into World Headquarters? Part of that, though, and you were against every club in the world. You could be the top club of all Toastmasters International if you worked at, but the folks with this, part of that, one of the things which you got points for was having a speaker evaluation team visit another club. So what happened there? We contacted the club. We'll provide you a speaker if you provide an evaluator for that person. And our evaluator will evaluate one of your speakers. We should get points for that. But also now, clubs that are focused on how to do pathways, how to present them. You could have a speaker go in there, and all of a sudden this club that's struggling in evaluations, they get an evaluation form for a pathway, and they're learning how to do that, getting enhancing and introducing the physical paperwork of doing that and following a guideline for good evaluations through the form. This is what Pathways does. And so if you have a challenge club and you have a strong club with a speaker evaluator team is facing, maybe that's another way to show, hey, if they can do it, we can do it too. So in preparation, I shared with you, schedule them, work in my head, know the location, time, place, know the club officers' names, what Zoom count, whatever. And when you visit them, keep a schedule and have a schedule for the second round. So you're way ahead in planning. All right. Real briefly, Karen, let's cover speech contest real quick. Who's responsible for a speech contest?
Well, in the club environment, Jeffrey, who's responsible for the club environment one?
The club environment is whoever they choose to be the club contest chair.
Okay. And the area?
Area is the area director, and whoever they choose to be the area contest chair.
And the division?
The same thing, the division director, whoever they choose to be the division contest chair.
I think he's heard this before, Greg.
I know. The point I'm trying to make is speech contests. What do they do for the Distinguished Club program, and what do they do for the district success plan of membership per capita's increase, building new clubs, and making clubs distinguished. Nothing that a speech contest does assists, supports, or does anything. It's all about the member. The member wants to compete, so because we have the speech contest, and the International Speech Contest is our flagship of Toastmasters International that we crown a winner every year at the convention. But it's the member's responsibility. Think about it. When we do a speech contest, not only do we get as Jeffrey shared, a contest chair, we got to find chief judges. And depending on what level the contest is at, either 5 or 7 contest judges and a tiebreaker judge, and 2 counters and 2 timers, and the Toastmaster of the meeting and a sergeant of arms, and it becomes a large ordeal, including briefings with both the contestants and the judges, timers and counters. And so we go on to this big thing, and sometimes I get a little soured because after all this work and rehearsing the thing, we go to this big effort at the area, division, whatever level, and we put this thing on. And at the end, there's 1 or 2 contestants that have nothing to do but gripe and complain, instead of saying, you know what? Look at all the people that made this possible for me. I appreciate all the work they did. Oh no, and so if we really want speech contests, it's the member's responsibility. Yeah, it's built in there with the rules and how to do it. But Jeffrey hit the nail on the head. Let's get a chairperson to do that for you. So you as area directors, you as division directors, maintain focus on the mission of the district and in supporting our clubs to be excellence. Anybody else have anything to add on that before I go on? The rule book, the new rule book's out, by the way.
Greg, on that one note, I found that when I was a district director, I had a couple area directors that were very exuberant about clubs and club contests. I like the first part especially, but the club contests, the second part really was a difficult thing for them to understand when they went to the corporate clubs that we had in their areas. And it was a couple different areas. And they were like, you must be in this club contest. You must. And the corporate clubs, a couple of them were like, we are not playing whatever little club contest game you're talking about. That's not why we're Toastmasters. What are you talking about? Right. So there was an incongruent expectation, and letting the area directors know, hey, this does not affect your area distinction of whether or not you're going to be successful in the recognition program. We don't use threat, duress, or coercion for these clubs to join, especially corporate clubs, to join our contests. If they say, you know, that's not really our thing, we say, okay, no worries. You might get benefit out of putting the fun in functionary if you want to just visit as a one-off or something, but no, you're not obligated. I wanted you to know it was out there. Jeffrey?
One message that I used last year really successfully was don't couch it as a contest necessarily, but I always say, I stole, leveraged a quote from someone else. It said, you're not in Toastmasters to be good at Toastmasters. You're supposed to be here to develop your message. International Speech Contest is about getting your message out to a bigger audience. And what better way to do that is to get in front of a bunch of strangers again.
Yep,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And with corporate clubs, they tend to lean into like speakers bureaus. If you guys have a speakers bureau, the qualified speaker designation is the highest accolade a district can bestow upon its member for a professional length speech. So consider what's in it for them, what might motivate them. And that's a great opportunity, Jeffrey, that you just spoke to. You know, like be in front of a bunch of strangers and see how you land, you know, that stretch yourself a little bit. That's wonderful.
Now, while areas, speech contests at all level, this also needs some coordination with the district. Most districts have a chief judge. They know who the trained judges are. They know dates. Some districts combined areas working together and have a planned areas of which month or date they do it, on which Saturday or Sunday, or however they do it. So as an area director, you want to coordinate with the district committee chairs, such as the chief judge or whoever, to find out, is there plans that we need to build this thing upon so we can go smoothly through at the different levels with the support of the district providing the resources. You know, a lot of it is for area and division speech contests of the district. There's trophies or different things that are presented in a timely fashion. So there is some coordination, and the district is again, who's depending on you as area directors, is to at least do some coordination and keep your contest chair informed, but coordinate with the district so all these things go slowly, and allow the district to provide you with dates if they're going to put blocks of contests on, or if the chief judge has a battery of judges that they can assign, let your contest chair know. So we are a communication organization as well as a leadership organization. So we need to focus on understanding that. So as time gets near, ask the district, you know, I believe the district's in the go. There's always been international evaluation. I've seen that change for years. I know in District 12, I hear talk, they're going to go from table topics to evaluation. So I'm waiting for that business meeting to see how that's voted on. But in either case, you need to know what two contests are going to be presented so you can work with them. And is there anybody else? And I know that the rules are changing because a lot of contests are going to be in person now. So when you read the rule book of different levels of the contest, I believe the club can still be hybrid, but I can't honestly tell you at the area division and district level if it's going to be just in person. Yeah, Jeff.
I think Jeffrey and I can tell you, but Jeff, go ahead.
We found this out about 2 hours ago and confirmed. Until we hear otherwise, everything but the online contest named such is going to be in person above the club level. And also the quarterfinals, when we submit our winner from the district for international speech contest, but pretty much we have to be in person. So those are the area directors and division directors who are not local to this area. You're going to need to find a chair that is local to basically run the contest for you. And that's an unfortunate drawback. And that also affects the previous year's contestants that were remote. They won't be able to compete if they're not from the local area. So on the one hand, that's bad, and we don't like it. And speaking mostly for myself, but also kind of for the trio as well, I think, because we talked about it a little bit. But it also means that if you got skunked out by some people who are not from this area, now's your chance. Mostly joking, but also serious. Priya?
Yeah, Jeff, so where is the location if it's in-person contest?
The location is the area directors and division directors need to find a venue. We can help with that. We're already trying to collect places where we know that what can host contests for you. But if you find a better spot on your own and try to keep it geographically local to your division or area, feel free to go ahead. But if you need help, we have people looking as well.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
We know this is a logistics problem.
This is a perfect example. The district trio has shared with you new information to you as area directors. Now, how do you disseminate that information and guidance that they just provided you? How do you interpret it, and how do you pass it on to make sure the clubs understand it? This is a perfect example of another event or due date, such as attending the council meeting, such as getting dues, such as getting officers list in, et cetera, et cetera. These are things you need to put on your calendar. And how are you going to communicate this to the club? Email, text, in-person visits, online. You know, have that checklist of information that the clubs need to know, and keep a tally on how you're going to deliver it and which clubs received it. So you're already is a chore. Or if we're going to be meeting in person, we have to find a venue. Where are we going to meet? Is it going to cost some money? Do we have that in an area budget? Is the district gonna cover that? It's gonna be some coordination.
We have some money in the budget to help. We haven't gotten approved yet, but there's some money in the budget to help you out.
So that's some, not every area is gonna need it. Maybe if one area finds a place to meet, areas around that might be able to use it at a different time and they can get that support. There's a lot of ways to work together, but we need to share information. So already you got something to note that's worthy about taking the contest. Some clubs may not want to even participate. That's fine. If they don't have a contestant, but can they provide a judge? Can they provide a timer, a counter, a toastmaster of the contest? What else can they do? So we'll move on to that. Let's move on because now we are at 7:30, so we need to move along.
Can I ask one quick question?
Yes.
Back to what Karen mentions, like certain clubs that they don't want to participate. Even though if they are not corporate clubs, is that if they decided, okay, well, we're all online clubs and we don't want to participate because it's all in person, is that also okay?
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, if they're a pure virtual club, and they don't have anyone in the local area, they can't participate. And really, we're not here to twist their arm to be in the contest. It's an invitation to
Mm.
compete
Okay, thanks.
and an opportunity.
That's
Good
a great question. Is there anybody here that is a remote leader for District 57?
We have a
You
few.
mean- What do you mean, Karen? I'm in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, so yeah, you're closer to our house in Ohio than you are to my house here in California. Okay,
Yeah.
so you'd be a remote leader in a sense.
Yeah.
So you
And
have trio members that are remote.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
Yes.
have
And Janet-
186 members in the district who are not from this area.
Okay, yeah,
Division-
my home district is in the same situation. So
Division D is in Arkansas, right?
yeah,
All right.
so
So there's some things, as we are sharing information here, we're broadening our knowledge of things we need to understand, to know, to find answers, and who's depending on you to give those answers, area directors, the members in the clubs. Who are you relying on? You're relying on the trio and world headquarters to provide you what we need to share with the club. So it's a good thing. Let's move along because we're running in there. I wanted to quickly discuss the two challenges of the clubs. Serving as area director and looking at different clubs all over the world. I see zeros in the pathways, the 6 pathways, and I see zeros in the 4 new members and 4 more new members. Those 7 and 8. These are the challenges that many clubs seem to not change. And so again, what Karen showed you as a tool will help be a marker there. So let's talk about membership building. First of all, guest to member. How are we doing that? When you visit, what can you ask or what can you see about how guests are treated if they're there, how they go about doing that? I would recommend in today's world to share with your club officer. If you have a guest, not only do you welcome them in there, and there's questions about how people are welcome and so forth, but to make sure the club opens the door to them. If you would like to join, all you got to do is ask us. Don't make them sit there and go through the whole meeting and leave and go, well, if I want to join that, who do I ask? How do I ask? What do I ask? So say if you want to join, I'm your vice president of membership or whoever. Contact me. If you're interested in questions, I'll call you after the meeting, ask your questions. I'll tell you more about it. It also gives you a chance when you're doing that to interview a person. Is this person going to be a good member of the club? So this is important. So often I just say, I see clubs, well, we're glad you're here. Come back next week. In other words, let me open the door for you, brush you out. Goodbye. Hope you come back. Shut the door. What does that do? If you're invited, it makes it, if you're asking for feedback, what did you get out of the meeting? What's the idea about inviting guests so they can see the benefits of a Toastmasters meeting. So ask the guests, did you see any benefits? Or what do you think about them? Did you see any benefits by attending tonight? Let's talk about positives. Oh, I like the way it is organized. I like the way the speakers receive positive supportive evaluation. So let's talk about the benefits, not, well, tell us what we did wrong and did right. No, let's talk about positives. Let's keep it focused on that area. The promise number 8, to bring guests to Toastmaster clubs. That's a promise. And I've been talking for over 3 years until I'm blue in the face. You too can do. If you get your members to go ask 2 guests between each meeting to come. And there's gonna be a lot of times that the 2 guests don't even show up. But if you say 2 guests, the worst thing you can say is no. But if everybody in your club, you got a club of 15 people, and everybody says, I'm gonna make sure that I ask 2 people, that's 30 invites. Out of 30 invites, you might start seeing more guests come. And then a showcase meeting. And how do we do that? We buy them, but I don't have it here. We buy them the round buttons that I wear every day. It says, ask me about Toastmasters. They're 50 cents on Toastmasters International. And so when you wear that, oh, dang about it. So when you want to recognize your members, you have a box of pins that says, hey, good job. Wear this pin, it says, talk to me about Toastmasters. If you want to recognize a member for bringing a guest in, here's the challenge coin with the core values on it that you can give them. And I mean, for my club, I got plenty of stuff to give to them to keep them motivated. How about a new membership pin when they give their icebreaker? All sorts of things. So membership retention and membership gaining and how we treat people. You know, there you go. What were the benefits that you gained? Let's talk about the positive. And then the other thing that they shared at the business meeting at the International Convention. If you're a president or vice president of education or membership, I believe you see in the mail from World Headquarters, a member is interested. And so I immediately go to it. And it says at the bottom, it says, here's the name, email, and phone number. And it says which club, 1348 or 8731, whichever one. Right here. That's how many I have to follow up on. I've already called them all. But I'm following it up on them. At the convention, they mentioned that this form that we send out, that's 62% of the people who put in to find a club never received a call back from a club member. 62%. We say, okay, we want new members. We see 4 zeros and gold 7 and 8, 4 members and 4 new members. And here's this stuff come out, but we don't take advantage of it. These are people that want to know about Toastmasters. It's an easy invite. It's like asking 2 people to come to the meeting and they're already given to you. Let's do it. So I'm busy. Toastmasters can't afford me any longer. I put so many times in calling new members. But why do I do this? I know what it did for me, what it gave me my life, and what it does for many others, because I see everybody growing from it. Why not give that gift an opportunity for an invite for people to come up there? Enough on that. Unless anybody has some great membership growth ideas they want to share with us all. But you as an area director can be sharing with your clubs these ideas about getting guests to clubs. Karen, you got anything to add? Karen, do you have anything to add?
I do. One of the things that you really want to be the answer to as a club, like for my home club, is what are you doing for lunch on Thursday? I want our programming to be in a position where our members are saying, oh man, I'm going to Caltech Toastmasters. We're going to do XYZ, or we're celebrating this or that, or I'm going to hear all about, fusion cells or whatever. Like that is something that I want to be able to ensure the club officers, the Magnificent Seven, and as an old lady member of the club, I'm doing my very best to create that growth environment. If you've got an area council meeting, a division council meeting, or any club environment meeting, and it's like pulling teeth to get people to the meeting, then they may not be connecting with the value of why they should be in the room. And being on Zoom is no excuse to have a 4-hour meeting that doesn't deliver value. We look at it in a different light, where we want to be the people that state the obvious. Hey, it's great that you're in the room. We want you here. You're actually adding value to us because you're a fresh set of eyes and ears. And we have some of the experience that we can lend you. We are really excited about this possible relationship, and we're really thrilled that you're trying us out. So that is something that you want to state the obvious with. And if everybody in the room has ever joined anything, whether it's a cricket club, whether it's a faith-based group, or maybe something at work, a lunch bunch at work or something, remember what it's like. Try and look past that burden of knowledge, because it was a while ago probably. What was it like to be the new person in a group and you weren't really sure if they were that into you, right? So that's an important thing to think about. Like, really state the obvious, be transparent. Hey, we're really thrilled that you're here, and it might be a cup of coffee. And if you're in Arkansas, you can do a wet Zoom and do a tea or coffee on Zoom. That's fun. Okay. There's no excuse not to connect with a person other than you're not willing to invest the time. Okay. But I think out of all the Toastmasters I've met in my 17 old school years, I think that they are worth it. And I keep coming back because they scare me just enough to realize I could do better. And they are the people that want to see success and want to be part of the story. And I want to be part of theirs. All right. There's some chat, just as a heads up, Greg, in all about, just a couple questions that were addressed. Best practices for speech contests had come up, and the speech contest rulebook was dropped, and that's the end all last word on everything. So the speech contest rulebook, it's in ink, it's in stone, it might as well be chiseled in basalt. It is what we are doing this year, for better or for worse. That is what we've got to work with. So know that is what we're held to. That is our scope. Okay. And that changes every single year. That is what we are doing for the 2024-2025 year. I also dropped in a couple other links. One is district strategies. That's a sneak peek for area and division director level. It talks a lot about tactics and strategies. That might stretch you in your bunny slippers if you've got a couple spare minutes. Take a look at it, because that is one of the most profound leadership documents our organization has ever produced. And if you notice in that document, they don't talk a whole lot about contests. They talk about the strategies and tactics that will deliver the most value to the members of the club. In order to get the members, the new ones, the ones returning, and the ones that have been around a while, to continue to connect with Toastmasters, it's really important to know their why. Why did they join? Why did they stay? And what excites them today? So it's a constant process of being able to do that. Read through those strategies. They are really insightful. Any other questions? Comments, general malaise, anything?
Hey, Karen,
Jeffrey?
Sorry.
Karen, could you comment on the, it's two things. Enrollment into pathways is made easy, and also the self-pay issue that's trying to make use easier for our members. Can you just give a quick comment on those?
Yeah, quick comment is for self-pay, I'm going to lead with money first, right? It should be the easiest, most straightforward thing for you to do in a club environment is take people's money. Okay, so you have the option to elect to do self-pay. If your club has voted to do self-pay, that's great. If it's not part of the club culture for whatever reason, that's okay, that's your right. But whatever way you take money in, it should satisfy two things. One, it should be pretty simple to do. You should be able to get the money in a timely manner. It shouldn't take 3.5 or 4 weeks, right, to get that money in at all. And then the other part of that is that it should be a way that you're taking their money in whatever format that doesn't compromise their privacy, security, or financial information. Okay, what do I mean by that? I have had people ask me to email their credit card, my credit card number to them. Email is older than me. It is not secure. Stop it. Don't do that ever, ever, ever. Email, if you put it in email, expect it in the, in the national news, because it is absolutely not secure. Okay. When you elect for self-pay, just as a soapbox thing, they can put in their financial information. The club officers don't even have to see it, know it, hear it, anything like that. So in terms of like being able to have a straightforward path to securely pay my dues, I'm a big fan of self-pay. It's auto magical. I click the button and it's good. Okay. So if you have questions about self-pay or anything else, by all means, I still have a member that insists on paying by check. I just give that person to my husband, who knows how to work checks. That's his subject matter expertise, and so it goes. You want to lean into your strengths. In terms of pathways, one of the things that I've noticed is that sometimes vice presidents of educations will try to enroll somebody in pathways that just paid their money. And they will go into basically like a minor certificate in computer information systems, trying to like just give them all the information they possibly can know about pathways. And many new people number lock. They didn't expect that that's what they were signing up for, and they don't understand the why yet. They're very new to our ecosystem and what we do. So know that one of the ways that has been successful for us in the last couple of years in a few different districts is that if you've got a new member through the door, connect with them on a human level, and ideally get them a mentor if that works out. Encourage them to put the fun and functionary with like Awe Counter or something very straightforward, so that they're part of the tribe, part of the group, part of the club. And plant that seed saying, hey, we'd love to have you do an icebreaker. There's actually a little breakout where you can send them just the icebreaker, so they have a sip of that information. And once they do their icebreaker, you can say, congratulations, that was great to hear about you and get to know more about you. Icebreakers are one of the highlights of being a Toastmaster, getting to know our new members. I want you to get credit for that icebreaker. So why don't we jump on Zoom, split screen, and we'll get you into pathways. So know that that is a way that works as well, because they won't number lock as much if you just send them a link and hope for the best. Because if they're trying to do this alone, sometimes it's not so successful. Does everybody in the room know that the Pathways platform is about to go through a transition? We're going to get the new, okay. All right, Jeffrey, do you have any words? Linda, do you have any words on that?
I've not heard anything specific that we can talk about yet.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard some things, but we're not permitted to have that
To
conversation.
share at this time, yeah.
Yeah. So Pathways is our one education system. Okay. We look back at that Toastmasters promise. We want to be able to celebrate our members. We celebrate our members when they achieve levels in our Pathways program. Okay. It's a really big deal not to postpone joy, because they don't feel valued if they've been doing speeches and it's been outside of that Pathways experience, and they've done 5 or 6 speeches and they haven't had any milestone. There hasn't been any gratitude or success or soapbox moments, right? Tim, I see that you have 2 DTMs. Are they both legacy, or do you have a legacy and a pathway?
Both legacy. I was too busy being a leader to do some of the mentoring. I have about 5 more ready to go.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay. Well, that's great. Yeah. So if you have a learning in pathways where you've got DTMs that have gotten a DTM through the pathway system, sometimes what really works is helping others that are almost there or so close with pathways, connecting them with maybe a workshop or like a little meet and greet, especially if they're level 3s or higher. Then you can invite them to like a Zoom where the person that's gotten a DTM through pathways can share best practices and get them over that hump. Like, okay, you're in level 3, you've got lots of electives and stuff now. Level 4 looks like it could be this. You're going on like your path that you selected. Level 5 looks like this. You're so close, kind of thing. And that also allows mentorship on a different layer, because if you have members in clubs, Jacob's got clubs, Priya's got clubs where I'm seeing zeros on those educationals. If you have a club that has never gotten a DTM in pathways, how are they going to know how to go through all the special steps well? They're going to need some sort of voice outside of the club that's going to be that guide. So that's something that's really important. And I don't know if the area directors in the room have any assistant area directors. Usually the district. Okay. So the district leadership handbook suggests having 2 assistants for areas and 2 assistants for division, an heir and a spare, so to speak. Okay. That's kind of a guess. Let's play a game. If you're an area or division director, think about your area, the clubs. A lot of you have said, I've already visited my clubs once. Think about the people that are in your area or in your division. Just for a moment, think about that. Close your eyes, think about that. Can you think of 3 people that have not done the job that you're doing yet, that might be pretty good at it based on what little you've seen so far? Right? That's called a short list. And for a lot of people, they're concerned about being you when they grow up, because that's, especially an area director, that's a big leap outside of the club environment to the district environment. That's the big blue sea to them, right? So what that means is that you're going to want to, maybe in your best interest, try to develop that team by asking them, hey, you know what? I see that you're coming to the area councils, or that you've been to district environment events. You're showing up anyway. Would you consider, is it a crazy idea to be an assistant area director to me? Because I'd love to show you the ropes. All you have to do is observe and report, right? Just observe, really. And then report back to me if you think this is kind of a cool thing or not. But the thing that this relates to in terms of pathways is that if you have an assistant, you can basically connect with them on the pathways, on the pathways process, so that when they're connecting with clubs as your assistant, they might specifically be the person hyper focused on pathways. And if you have 2, then the other one typically would focus hyper on like member retention. Okay. Hey, how's it going? How's it doing? If you have member retention in the club growth house. So it's almost like those 2 assistants. One is like a club growth focused person or a member retention focused person. The other one is pathways and education.
And Karen, you're growing a future area director to replace you.
Yes, it should not be somebody who's done it before. Lead and get out of the way, right? Because you don't want to bottleneck the leadership pipeline in your district. That would be fabulous.
Real quick, everybody, there's a lot of good stuff in chat from both Linda and Jeffrey to help you out.
Yes.
We have 6 minutes left. I want to make sure, Linda, do we have a complete roll call? Do we need to take pictures of the attendees so you have a confirmation, or do you got everybody down listed, Jeffrey, or anything we need to follow up on that to make sure they're...
We took attendance already, very quietly behind the scenes, but having a picture for the front page would certainly help us.
All right, so why don't whoever's the photographer...
I got you. Let me stop the spotlights.
Go back to full screen.
Yep.
And we should all smile. Give
That
thumbs
means you all
up
have to
or
come back on on screen.
I want to give a shout out to our program quality director and our club growth director who is dressed for success. You are dignitaries, and boy, do you show up like that. And I absolutely adore that. Whether you're on site, online, or hybrid, you're a dignitary. And that is a really big deal. Okay. So thank you for showing up as leaders. Thank you for being present, and thank you for contributing value to this meeting today.
Well, you're so very welcome, and thank you for the wonderful information that you've passed on to our area and
Mhm.
division directors. All very, 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 very valuable. And we want to thank you for that as well. So Jeffrey, how we doing on?
I got the credentials to everyone, and I know that Tim and Daria have been here for a bit, so I got everyone else. So I already sent the picture. You're all good.
I just want to
Right.
acknowledge one guest, Van Poe from District 12. She's our current club treasurer, but our next year's president, and I hope to see her go up the ladder. So she's present here today, and we're glad that she could make it, because you can learn from different districts, different events. So we're glad to have her there. Thank
Absolutely.
you, District 57, for Karen and myself both having the honor to share with you, and we wish the best. And with that, I'm going to give control back to Linda Patton, who is your program quality director, to close out the meeting or passing on.
Okay, great. Thank you, Greg, so very, very much. Yes, Jeffrey.
Sorry, I've got a couple of quick things to mention to folks while we have your attention. Make sure your clubs know that if they had a meetup page on the old system, it needs to be moved by September 30th. And also, for any clubs that run open houses this year, the first open house counts double. I'm basically creating the first, we want to have 80 open houses across the district for the entire year. And so basically, clubs do not like running open houses. We have an open house kit that I'll be rolling out thanks to a wonderful team and my open house team at Deckham this weekend, hopefully. And I think there was one other thing I can't remember off the top of my head, so I'll hand back to Linda.
Well, I have an ask for all of you, and I asked at the last training.
That was it.
My initiative this year is to bring as many speakers to the clubs as possible. So oftentimes the club is, they may be looking for a guest speaker, or we noticed that they have, I don't want to say a deficit but they're a little low on membership, or they haven't had a new member in a long time, or they're having trouble with DCP points, or whatever it might be. And it could be motivational. It could be just about anything. It could be a pathway speech that you're trying to give, but you can never get a space in your club because there are too many people. You've got tons of new members coming in, and there's just no room for you. We would like to offer that to the clubs who are having challenges with speakers. So please do not put it in the chat. Please send me an email at linda@d57tm.org. That's in the chat somewhere. And just let me know, what's your speech topic? Is it a pathway speech? Would you like to be evaluated? Because we're going to also ask the club to evaluate you on the speech that you did, so that you can get credit for it in pathways, if that's your goal. We're also talking to the Speakers Bureau and saying, hey, would you like to speak? We have opportunities for you. So Kara Kelly is actually working with me on this, and she needs this list so we can send it out to the clubs. So please, please, please send me your topic and whether you'd like to be evaluated or not. And we will make that happen for you. If you don't, guess what? I know where you live, and I will be either on the phone or in your email asking you for that speech topic. So let's be proactive and get it to me ahead of time. Jeffrey?
Tag teaming right on top of that. One of the open house styles that we are accepting this year is the workshop/teaching lesson open house. So if you have something, a lesson, an idea, a workshop that you want to share with other Toastmasters clubs, we'll take it. But we need to know who you are and what you like to teach. For example, I teach improv. So if people need improv workshops, I'll show up, and I'm adding names to a list of people in the open house kit. If you'd like to be on that list and have clubs contact you to be open house guest for a workshop or a lesson or a speech, please send me your name. My email is also in the chat at jeffrey@df7tm.org. And the more people we add to the list, the more choice of the open house people will get.
And two other things to announce. One is we are reprising the area director, division director training, 4 hours. For those of you who have not completed your 4 hours yet, no, you do not have to sit through all 4 hours. Jeffrey and Ashley are going to send out a list of topics that we're going to cover so that in essence you can pick and choose. But you need to complete however many hours you haven't done yet before the 30th of September. And that is on September 21st from 9 to 1 Pacific time. And then to cap off the month of September, on the 28th, live only, we are doing a train the trainer session. So for those of you who want to go from being a speaker to being a trainer, perhaps wanting to train in, a TLI, or as Jeffrey said, you have something that you'd love to teach other Toastmasters, this is the place to be. And that, I'm sorry, I don't have, it's in Dublin, as I remember, at a library. And like I said, it will be, again, probably full day starting around 9 o'clock. So check out the D57 calendar. It will give you the links for registration as well as for those that we have Zoom meetings planned at that time. So Jeff, anything else? Any last words of wisdom? Because I'm ready to go to bed. It's 11:02 here.
One last request for people who when you're doing club visits, find out if anyone is working on their DTM, because I have currently no club coaches set up, and I'm going to need some club mentors as well for the brand new clubs that I'll be helping put together. But also simply that way we know who to lean on for next year's area directors as well. Because people who are working the GTMs need stuff outside their club. And we are all on the roll of the outstanding Toastmasters achievement list, hopefully this weekend at DECA or sometimes this month. And in order to get the points for that, you have to do stuff outside your club. As area directors, you have one of the best opportunities to get your award this year. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's something that District 57 does for people who do above and beyond in the district. And two of the things on there are giving trainings at clubs outside your own, giving speeches at clubs outside your own, and serving as a district officer, which area directors and division directors count.
Okay, and you get a nice little plaque. Mine came in the mail yesterday. It was really nice. Okay, with that, I'd like to thank our phenomenal trainers, Greg Scott, Karen Lucas, for sharing their wisdom here with us tonight. And again, thank you so very, very much. And with that, I call this meeting adjourned.
And I'll stop the recording.